we had lots of celebrations. I lived in a little village, Marybank, and there was a bonfire, and this was the coronation.
We all had flags, and everything was decorated with bunting. It was like, it was all a happy time.
I remember the street parties. I remember it distinctly. I can see the street.
We were doing dancing in the street, and we had big tables with food and balloons.
I remember there was a party. It was going to be a picnic, but it was raining, so they had to change it to a party. And we went up to the school, the local school, and we had games.
There was a fancy dress parade, but of course it was pouring rain, so other arrangements were made, and a few of us met at the school before we went down to the post office and then the hall. But it was an interesting day for us.
I was only a little girl, and as a little girl, what's exciting? Getting a day off school. The streets were packed and were only ordinary people, but to us this was something so special. The Queen, very exciting.
We were very lucky. My father had got television, and we were over, and the whole lot, all the family and bairns and everything would come to watch on our television.
I can remember seeing it on television. One of my cousins bought his mum and dad a television, and I think the whole family were there watching it.
We were all excited, the whole family and the whole village was excited.
Oh, it was exciting, yes. It was quite a spectacle to see.
Televisions, few people had them, and the one that I watched was a very new one, and it was very small.
There was radio, but no television. Apart from anything else, we were just getting electricity in. So with no battery-operated TVs or anything like that. But it was a good time.
We were all very proud of it, that she was there. And of course, her father died.
I can remember it being in the queue to go to our cookery, and all up the ranks, the rumours were going round that the king had died. I don't think any of us really believed it, but when I got home, I know that it was true.
I can remember seeing her coming back from Africa with Prince Philip after they got the news of her father's death.
She went out as a lassie and came home as Queen. I can mind that very, very well.
She was started out in life. She was a princess, fair enough, and she knew one day she would be Queen, but she didn't. I don't think she expected it so soon.
I was in Singapore at the time, in the army, and we were getting ready for a parade for the king, and she had a hard time of it, really, you know. I mean, even getting married and going out and losing her father, and she wasn't with him.
I was in school that day, went home for lunch, and my mother said that the king had died. And she was quite shocked, really. And of course, when I went back after lunch, everybody was talking about it.
I think everybody sort of felt a bit sorry for her, the burdens that she was taking over.
Well, it was all in the paper, and there was block edges to the paper as a sign of respect.
It's a sad time that he died, but then this young princess came, and I think that sort of helped the sadness to, you know, to overcome the sadness that she was going to take over, and I think that made a difference.
I think she's done a wonderful job. I really do. I admire her very, very much.
I always looked up to the royal family. I always thought they were very special.
I think she's made a very stable influence, and the public in general had a great deal of respect for her.
The time she was most in the news for us was her Balmoral holidays. In my young days, there were no television and things like that. So it was pictures and papers, and if you went to the cinema on the news bit, there would be bits and pieces about the Queen and Prince Philip.
I had a big album. I used to cut out the paper cuttings, and if I could get any newspaper at all with photos in it, I used to keep a photo album.
I had lots of pictures of her growing up, and it was, we were all royalists. We didn't realise it, but everybody loved the royal family. And anything they did, we all watched it.
Certainly as a young person, I was always interested in the activities of the monarchy.
She was there doing what she had to do, and seemed a very fair woman, and did her duty for the country, and people looked up to her for that.
She's always been honest with us. She's always been ready to do her work.
She's done amazing work for the country.
I think she's done marvellous, done really marvellous. She hasn't hesitated on anything. She was always smiling, always looking good. Yeah, she's done a marvellous job.
Well, she made a good queen, that, and she was well loved.